Hi, welcome. This is a little bit different setup that I'm playing with, so we'll see what happens. Thank you for being here. I just have to say that is a lot going on back there. I hope you can handle it. I hope it's not too overstimulating. I think it's fine because I have like a million different projects going at any one time. So I just can't bring myself to like put all the supplies away because then it's like, oh, I gotta dig it back out. And sometimes that slows me down from finishing a project. So I just have to say that because I don't want that to deter you from watching what's going on here, which let's see if this works. Aww. So, what I thought we would do is have a little intuitive fun on a Friday night. Okay. Yeah, this is the phase of life I'm in. I don't go out, I just sit here with cards in my den of creativity and see what comes up. So, the reason I like these are Dixit storytelling cards because I like to feel into the imagery and see what story emerges for us to talk about and that can really illuminate what's going on in our lives because it's all about what you feel as well. So thanks again for being here. I'm just going to, kind of like we do a tarot, just kind of shuffle until I feel the call to stop and select some cards. I have no idea how many we're going to pull either. Let's see. Maybe we'll do it this way and then we'll turn them over. There we go. How was your week? I feel like it was, I was telling somebody this, one of my clients today, it felt forever long and forever and really fast, all at the same time. Okay. And then, I don't know why I picked 6, but let's do 7 because I like odd numbers and I like the number 7. And we'll do an overall energy. I've never done this before with the Dixit cards. The overall energy is, I've never seen this card, an alligator or crocodile. I honestly don't remember the difference every time I look it up. One has like a wider face. I think one has a long, skinny face. This looks like the alligator is dropping a book into its mouth. It's like it's like in a sea of books and it's devouring it with its eyes closed. So to me, this feels like we are just hungry for information, for story, for meaning making, for all the things that come in the form of a book, I guess. But it feels like we're swimming in a sea of information and we're just devouring it with our eyes closed. Like we don't even know like why we're doing it, what we're really looking for, because our eyes are closed, we're not looking, but it just feels like we're on autopilot, seeking without really seeing. So that's the vibe of this like thing that we're doing here, reading, if you want to call it that. So do you feel in your life like where you just feel like more, more, more? Does it feel like you're constantly taking in new information but not really putting it into practice? Not really allowing time for integration of the concepts into lived, felt experience? Because sometimes that feels like seeking energy where it's just like more, 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 more because it feeds something in us. It's like maybe the dopamine hits, although there's controversy or like that might be more of a myth or a misunderstanding of what dopamine really does in our body or what it is. But it's like, what is that like more, more, more energy? How is that showing up in our lives? More, 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 more. Without really saying, wait, I've taken in enough. It's time for me to integrate this in a very meaningful way. And we'll get into that later, hopefully. Hopefully there will be more that shows up with that. That's the overall energy. Let's turn over the rest of the cards. This will be fun. I don't know if you can see these or if you're just distracted by the chaos back there. I've seen a couple of these before, but I have so many that I certainly haven't really taken in all of them. Okay. Let's see, what do we feel about these? I'll just describe them, and then sometimes that helps like feel into what that means for us. And again, you don't have to take my meanings. You can take your own, because imagery hits us differently. It's like when I do a tarot reading with someone, they pick up on different things in the imagery than I do a lot of times, and it means something different to them. And what it means to you is the most important thing. Okay, so this is about listening for our own intuitive guidance. So in this photo, there's like this angel character sitting on top like a geode or a gem or some crystalline structure maybe, and there's birds flying all around. It's almost like there are a bunch of buildings poking up through the clouds, and the angel character is up on high in the thinker kind of posture, looking down maybe perhaps at humanity. And it's like, it's almost like our higher self is really kind of questioning like, what's going on? So let's put a pin in that. Then we'll come back to all this. Maybe it'll be cohesive. Then we have a few different keys. You can tell like these keys are different shapes, sizes. I don't know. They're so different, and it doesn't look like any of them really fit the keyhole. And it looks like they have wings. Like the keys are trying to see if they fit to unlock a door. But do any of them really fit? It looks like they're all in a position to like try to unlock. There is light coming in from the outside, and all these keys, there's wood, there's like maybe a copper or an iron, and then there's gold. So it almost feels like there's the different keys for alchemy to happen. And that came to me because of that word integration, which is another word, or alchemy is another word for it. It's like how everything comes together in a way that we can't really understand necessarily with our mind. Like it's not a cognitive understanding. The body does it. Like it alchemizes. I don't know why this is the feeling, but I like it. Try it. It feels good. So there's something about the way like the higher self might be the thing in us, like our true nature has the keys about how this alchemy is supposed to work within us, how this integration, when we finally pause the hungry beast, like more. It's like, hold on. There's a wisdom in us that knows how this works. Okay. Then we have this king character sitting in the palm of a statue. This feels like, where am I going? Here, maybe? There's that. And there's this. Whatever view you like. But there's this little king character in the palm of a statue. Something feels very rigid here. Like this, there's like a stone support. There's something like very structured and rigid that is holding this like little king. It keeps calling him little. Maybe he's huge. I have no idea. And he's kind of looking a little like skeptical off to the side. And when I think of kings in tarot, they're like the leader, the protector, the doer, the confident one, the one that gets stuff done, the one that people go to for answers, the one that rules the land. And it's like, well, who's the one supporting the king? And the king kind of looks skeptical. It's like, where does it almost feels like there's some leader like energy in your life. Are you the leader of your family? Are you the leader of your friend group? In other social groups in your life, where you kind of step into the role of like, I've got it all handled, people. And then there's this vibe of like, but wait, who has me? It doesn't feel like something nurturing. It feels like a cold, like forced support structure. Like, I'm holding it all together. It's just, it's like the tension in my body is like what's holding it all together, and I feel it all the time. So it's like, that's a part. It's like, ooh, how does that fit in with this insatiable need to keep like feeding something within us? Because it almost feels like, oh my God, if I stop, everything is going to fall apart. I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep going. Then we have there's like this rickety looking shack of a house or shed, because it looks rickety because the boards are kind of falling apart. The shingles are see-through. It's jutted up out of some pretty intense waves, ocean, I guess, and it's like got clothes on a clothesline, maybe flapping in the wind. The mailbox is out there. So it feels like is something like there's even a roll of toilet paper like flying out of the house. So is like something at home feeling kind of turbulent right now. Like, again, back to this king character of like somebody trying to hold it all together, but who's got my back? Because at any moment things just feel like they're gonna like fly apart. The ocean, like things feel pretty turbulent maybe. And then what's interesting, right, then very next card we have like more kind of turbulent ocean waves, although they're beautiful. I just love the artwork of the Dixit cards. But this is more like there's a bird coming up out of the sea, and it has a fish in its beak. So this feels like very like swirly, nonsensical, with this giant bird coming up out of the water. It's like something doesn't belong, or feeling like a fish out of water. It feels like something doesn't fit. Okay, although things like it's a very, to me, like whimsical, but not whimsical as in like, oh, carefree. Something still feels kind of like not dark, but just very like, ooh. I wish I could use words. I think you get the point. Then the last photo, or the last card here, is this feels more whimsical. This feels like a little like science lab / creativity lab. Like it's a lab of creation where like making, like it's, a creator lab where it just feels like possibilities and imagination is blooming. So this almost feels like a turning point into this energy of like open expansiveness, whereas things have felt very like rigid, confusing, don't really know the path. What am I doing? I'm just taking in everything, not really processing it, not really like making felt visceral alchemical sense of it from my lived experience. I can't say it like more clearly. I guess words are hard tonight, probably because we're dealing in pictures. And so it's like, what is going on where things kind of feel like, if I stop, just like eyes closed, just take it in, consuming not just food, but like consuming information, social media, like it's almost like there's no room. This whole higher self inner voice is like, I'll be here when you're ready to like tap into me and listen. God, that's been a theme lately, because something feels like there's just a bunch of distraction energy. And what is it distracting us from? Like our inner knowing and our inner voice is like just waiting for us to tap in and listen. And that's our own inner wisdom. Some people call it the God within. And it's like that, like, we'll know the answers to our own questions. That alchemy will happen when we can listen for that guidance. Meaning, all the answers come when we tap in and listen to what our inner self has to say. And I know that might sound like whatever. It depends on what your experience with it is. If you've ever even glimpsed a little bit of it, you'll know how true it feels. Because our answers don't come from out there. There's no out there. Like, no matter what we are trying to like feed that with, that knowing that we're seeking something, but we keep seeking it from out there. And I love that the eyes are closed, because isn't that what we do? It's like we go out there, but we're not really seeing. We're not really like attuned to even the thing that we're consuming. Okay, like pick any moment where you're scrolling social media. It's like literally a habit. You're just more. When this is on standby saying, I'm here. I'm here waiting for you to ask me a question. Listen for what I have to say. Because your higher self, your inner self, your true self has the keys to like set you free from this rigid prison that we've built, this rickety situation of a life. Let's get dramatic. Where you feel like you just don't fit, you just don't belong. And it's not that the thing is with this, it's not, you might feel like you don't belong in the world. Like, I just don't fit in. It's like you're trying to plug yourself into something outside yourself, when really what's being called for is like getting to know yourself deeply. That's the only place we truly do fit, right? Because it's just a one-man show here. It's like we're, like I said before, like we're the main character of this game of life. Hey, if we don't feel like we fit with ourselves, of course we're not gonna feel like we fit out there, even though there really isn't an out there. We'll talk about that another time. And then this something is asking for like an opening to get whimsical, to get creative, to get curious. Okay, so you know what I want to do now? Let's go ahead and if that's our story, that's our story. Let's take a drink. Let's get some whimsy. I feel like I have let's get these cards. I haven't used these in a while. These are old school. literally called Old School Tarot. I haven't used them in a while, but they kind of give these vibes a little bit. And they're a little bit whimsical, old cartoony. So what are you curious about with this story? Let's just wrap this up. We won't go too long. We already went long enough, but I like these. I love these Dixit cards. They are, they're fun. I want to know, like, what is, there's so many avenues to go down. I kind of want to know where we're going with this. I think this is a common enough, just a common enough challenge for a lot of us in the modern world. Just like information overload. I don't even know why I want it. I just want it. Yum, 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 yum. And it drowns out everything else. It's like, how can we make room to listen for what really matters? And we know it matters. We know. But why don't we stop? Is it like there's this, and this has come up a lot this week too, like this pause. How do you shift into one state from another? It's like you're going this direction. How do you pivot and go this direction? If you were driving a car and you just yanked the wheel, yikes, that could be bad. But usually we'll come to a stop, or at least slow down enough to take in something different, like turning the corner. But usually we'll stop and then take off slowly into a turn the other way. And that's a little safer. So there's a pause, there's a slowing down energy, a pausing energy in order to make the shift into a new direction, into a new way of being. So how, there's something here, like, what can we learn? Like, what are ways we can gently, easily, like enticingly even, like what will motivate us to pause? If we're not so attuned to our inner voice, we might be like, I don't understand from a felt sense the payoff of that. I don't buy it. I'm perfectly fine mindlessly scrolling, taking in information, watching all the Netflix, whatever our distractions are. I'm perfectly happy doing that. It feels good. You know, that surface level good, the dopamine good. But something is more lasting and fulfilling, but maybe we've just never experienced it to a degree that says, oh, it's worth it. It's worth it to tune everything else out for your own voice. So I'm curious, like, what are some things to help us get motivated to do that, or things to watch out for when we're ready to do it, and what might get in the way of that? So we have the Hermit, the Page of Swords, oh my God, and the Hierophant. You guys, I can't make this up. Okay, so the three cards for the clarification. Right here in the center is the Page of Swords. This is a deep curiosity for learning. And when we're talking about learning who you really are, what your true voice sounds like, oh, this is all with curiosity. So it's like, what is it that would spark your curiosity to find out what that voice even sounds like? Do you go into it with too many assumptions? Like, yeah, I know my voice. What are you talking about? But it's like, you think you know your voice, but if you've never really, even if you feel like you've heard it, how about beginner's mindset here? Because the Page of Swords is all about a beginner's mindset, which means the more you think you know, the more limits you place on what you could be, what you could come to know. So it's like, go into it saying, okay, I don't know myself, and that is okay. I'm showing up to be surprised by who I am. Who am I? And just this throw away all assumptions of who you take yourself to be. Oh, I want to do that again. Like, it's not a one and done. You can do it as many infinite number of times and just see how many surprises you can accumulate. Like, oh, I didn't know that about myself. Oh, I didn't know I felt that way. Oh, I didn't know I had the capacity for that. Awesome. Pleasantly surprised. So then on the side, on the bookends of this clarification, we have the Hermit and the Hierophant. The Hermit is literally the card of going inside to seek your own wisdom, because that's all that matters. That's all we have in this life, is what our inner voice says, and it is our truth. The truth doesn't come from out there. We already talked about that. It is only, I keep saying this, it's an inside job. Like, everything is just of the self. The wisdom, it's like this card says, like, you do whatever, wherever that takes you. If it takes you to a mountaintop, do it. If you need to go out in nature, do it. If you need to take a week off work and lock yourself in a room, I don't know, whatever feels right to you. And it might just be a 5-minute daily practice. You don't have to go away to do this. And just say, carve out whatever you need. Time, space, nature, quietude. Usually some quietude, but you do you. Not quiet doesn't work for everybody. Some people work best with like background noise to focus in, into their own quiet. That's up to you. So then on the other end, we have the Hierophant, which is like, what wisdom are you seeking? What's interesting to me with the Hierophant is we play at different points in life, different sides of this equation. Sometimes we're the seeker of the wisdom. Sometimes we're the giver of the wisdom. And I love that this shows up along with the Hermit, because you are both. Anything that leads us to the both and is a fundamental truth, because things aren't either or. They might be at some level, but keep going, keep digging deeper, different dimensions till you get to the both and those are the biggest truths in life, aren't they? When all things can be true, nothing's excluded. Okay, that's enough. The Hierophant is the thing to watch out for, though, with the Hierophant is like kind of putting on how do I want to say this? The thing we watch out for with the Hierophant is like trying to prove something. So how could that show up when it's just you? It's like, could it be that you, like, when you go and kind of like sit in meditation or start your journaling practice, whatever it is, where you're like tapping into that inner voice to get your inner wisdom to shine through, and again, you're doing it with curiosity. If you're not doing it with curiosity, it's like you're going in with already this expectation maybe of like, oh, it's got to sound smart. It's got to be a certain way. It's got to feel like wisdom. It's got, again, this is like, don't feel like you have to prove something to yourself. It's just you. Like, you might say your voice might say the most funny, ridiculous things, and those can be some of the deepest, most profound truths that you uncover. They could be in the form of humor. They could be in the form of grief, loss. Like, they could be in the form of just pure, unbridled, that's the second time that word came up today, joy and youthful play. Like, there's no it doesn't have to look like anything. There's nothing to prove to anybody. It's just you showing up for you. So that's what's here in the clarification. That's what's to watch out for, is to not have any expectation. Okay, that keeps coming up too, doesn't it? It's the year of getting rid of expectation. It's such a limiter on our capacity for literally anything. Expectation just stunts so much. And because then it's like we get into that, like, oh, it's a layer abstracted and it's for show and it's just putting on airs and it's just full of gotta prove something to somebody. That has no use here. Okay, so where does this show up in your life? Where you feel like, do you feel attacked? It's like, you don't know how many hours I spent on social media. Oops, I meant to say minutes. Like, do you feel attacked? Sorry, not sorry. I feel this. Like, I still, even though I'm focusing on like limiting distractions, I bet there's so many I don't even realize that I have still. I know there are plenty. And so what I did recently, like this week. I do it from time to time, but I did another round of it, and I reorganized my home screens and pushed all the social media either off the home screen or like a few screens back. So it takes more effort to like go there. And by putting some resistance, I'm introducing some resistance to doing something I don't prefer. I think it's helping, because by doing that, adding resistance, the fact that I have to swipe a couple extra times, that means the resistance itself is a form of slowing down. Obviously, that kind of energy of like resistance energy makes things slower in general, like physics. I don't know. Then it creates that pause. Remember I said like there's a like, how do you create a pause? Like, you don't just you don't not pause and yank the wheel and like careen off the side of a mountain. You slow down. You create you go into the braking is the resistance, so that you can make a change, make a turn to what you do prefer, which is less distraction. So that's just one example how it's showing up in my life. It was like something in me, like when I had a spare minute, if the Facebook icon was on my home screen and I just pick up my phone, it's like, ooh, like I didn't even want to open it, but it's it's this, my eyes closed, just mindlessly consuming. And every time I went on Facebook, I just felt sick in my stomach. I'm like, I don't like this feeling. Okay, let's push it aside. I use it for business stuff. I use it to like keep in touch with friends and family. And yet it makes me feel icky every time I open it. I don't like to feel icky. So that's one example of adding resistance to create to like slow me down towards going to something I don't prefer, so I can make the change to something I do prefer. So then what I did is I went through other apps and pulled them up in its place, things I wanted to focus on, things that I wanted to take up more of my time, that I'd been distracting away from. And that's a very simple thing. You've probably done it yourself. It's not like I made this up. I've done it over time, several times. And then I keep pushing the social media buttons back up to the front, depending on the phase of life I'm in. And right now I'm in a removing distractions kind of phase. But so that's one example where I'm trying to not just mindlessly consume. And it goes with food as well. I've talked about that as one of my challenges. It's like when I didn't get clear on my goals, there's that feeling stuck energy where you're like, I have stuff to do in this lifetime. but I feel stuck. Like I feel trapped in a room. I don't know what key is going to let me out, what's going to work. So then it's like, okay, just start trying different things. And one of the things that's helping so far with the like that mindless consumption, and when it shows up with food, it was just like I was just bored because I was distracting from getting busy doing what helped me meet my goals, because I hadn't even defined my goals. So instead of like defining my goals, I would just distract with like boredom eating and watching Netflix. Like that was easier. I know, this is confessional time. And it's like once I started actually spending some time sitting with myself, with my little angel self, my inner self, defining my goals, then and doing what I needed to do to introduce friction to not go where I didn't want to go, then naturally I was like, oh, I'm not bored enough to just sit down and eat and watch Netflix. You know what I mean? It's like there was a shift in perspective because I stopped distracting from the thing that really mattered to me the most. But it wasn't easy, and it's still not easy. And every day I have to check myself, because in the process of breaking a very like worn path, there are worn pathways, talking about it in the neural networks and our habits. It's just a worn path. It doesn't, like I said, I didn't want to click on the button. It was just a worn path and an easy path. And just like whatever our habits we want to change, whatever our patterns we want to break, they're just worn pathways. It doesn't mean we're bad or we should feel shame for doing it. It's just a habit that, because humans are wired to like go down the easy path. So how do we create a new path? Throw up some roadblocks in the worn path, right? Add the resistance. Whatever helps you like slow down that path and be like, wait, I don't want to go down there. It looks harder now. It looks like there are potholes and like gravel and a cliff without a railing. Like, I don't want to go down there. And then like, what will make me want to go down this other path? And you know what? Honestly, sometimes we don't even know what that path is that we want to go down. But by putting up resistance, there's something in us craves movement. It's a law of the universe. I forget what law it is, but everything vibrates. Everything's constantly in motion. So when we put up resistance here, something in us goes, oh, okay, let's just try this. The path of least resistance. Maybe that's what I'm trying to think of. So we go to the next path that has less resistance, and then we can start seeing, am I vibing with this path? Oh yeah, I like a little bit of this. Okay, let's add more of that. I want more of that. Or like, no, let's try something different. It's like we don't have to know where we're going. Sometimes we just need to know where we don't want to go and add some resistance to that path. So let's just call that the story. Because I don't think we've talked about that in a while. And it's like, let's give ourselves some grace. We don't have to know where we're going. All we know is we want to stop the mindless consumption of distraction, energy in our life. It doesn't mean we're bad people, it just means we're human. And that's what humans do. It's just easy to be like, dopamine, although, whatever you want to call it. I think the real lesson here, though, is like, I love curiosity. Wherever you can introduce this curiosity for learning about yourself as if you'd never met yourself before. Because the old self, let's say you're trying to like put up roadblocks for the old habits, the old self that keeps showing up. By introducing curiosity, it's like that old self it's like they become a stranger. It's not like, oh, I know that person. It's like, no, say, okay, that may be who I've been, what I've been doing, but then this other one, I'm going to pretend like this is a blank slate. Who are you? What is your potential to be? What have you always been wanting to embody? And why not allow that for yourself? Give yourself permission. And then be curious. Oh, what else? What else about them don't I know? Like, treat yourself like a beautiful stranger. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.